Hey everyone, Tim Berry here, Executive Principal of South Dole High School, coming to you from sunny Destin, Florida. Hope everyone had a great summer break. We've been hard at work here, trying to get ready for the school year. Hold on, wait, I can't do this. This is all a lie, so. I haven't even been anywhere next to a beach. We've been busy trying to get the school year started, get all of our hires made, and I can't do this to you. So let's do this differently. Take some time right now to introduce the new team. Let's start with our 9th grade team.
Hey, I'm Daryl Chandler, 9th grade principal.
I'm Chad Hensley, 9th grade academic dean.
And I'm Julia Guerin, 9th grade counselor.
And now let's introduce our 10th grade team and TPAC coach.
Hi, I'm Matthew Mosley. I'm the new 10th grade principal, and we also will be joined by Miss Erica Fair, who will be our 10th grade counselor, and we are still searching for our next master teacher who's going to be our academic dean for 10th grade.
And I'm Matthew Davidson, the new TPAC coach.
And next we'll introduce our 11th grade team.
I'm Denise Magaha. I am the 11th grade principal.
Stephanie Barlow, the 11th grade guidance counselor.
And Angela Cox, 11th grade dean.
I'm Clark Duncan. I'm working with 11th and 12th grade, and I am also the athletic director and head football coach.
And finally, our 12th grade team.
My name is Mike Carter. I'm the 12th grade principal.
I'm Tracy Dixon, the 12th grade counselor.
And I'm Don Madgett, the 12th grade dean.
Okay, parents and students, I'm going to go over a very quick agenda. Obviously, the district expects me to cover annually the computer expectations that keeps everyone out of trouble. Also, I'm going to go over computer care. That is important to you because it keeps the repair costs to a minimum. Last year we had $18,000 in repair costs and bills. So sometimes it doesn't seem like it matters how many times I cover it. We still have the same repairs and issues with our devices. So parents, I'll ask that you reinforce these quick tips with your kids to avoid any expensive costs later in the school year. I'm also going to talk about the top 10 Pride Positives. These are programs, awards, or accomplishments that are somewhat unique to our great school, and we believe it's that every parent and student in South Knoxville and South Knoxville community should know and be proud of for our school. I'm going to briefly go over our Title I focus, which is $500,000 in federal aid to support our students because of the needs that we have here. So briefly, I'm going to go over how that money is budgeted, and I really want your input on that. If we are not meeting needs somehow for your kids, or you think that we can do things better when you see how we're budgeting that money, I don't care for you to let me know, and I'm going to have communication information at the end of this presentation to tell you how to get a hold of me, but I would really like to hear your input if you think there's a better way or another way or just an area that we are not addressing. I want that open line of communication to take place so that I can learn from you as well. Communication is extremely important, so knowing how to get a hold of you and you get a hold of me, and make sure, especially in emergency situations, I want to make sure that we're timely in getting information out. It's always a challenge every year to hit every household, but I'm going to throw out a few of the top apps and ways that we try to communicate with our parents. In terms of promises, there are a lot of things that we want to live up to for you and for your kids. So there are some things I'll tell you that we're going to try to support and back up from our standpoint. And then at the same time, we have some behavioral expectations that are just non-negotiables that keep our kids safe here at school. So I'm going to go through that. Obviously, there'll be more in our student handbook that our students will go over at school, but is always on our website for parents you to take a look at so that you understand kind of what those expectations look like. Safety is a primary concern for me here at school, so I'll briefly go over some new safety updates, one of those being that could be an inconvenience to you if you're not prepared when you come to check out your student or you drop something off. We want to make sure that you know what those new procedures are so that you are prepared for it. I'll briefly go over our open house night, the date for that, and then I'm going to let Mr. Carter finish things up with the final steps of laptop deployment. We hope that this new self-pace video is going to help speed things up, and it's more of a convenience for you, but there are some final steps to that, and I'm going to let him talk about what that is when we get to the end of this presentation. As you go through the video, this is self-paced, but it is going to require you to pay attention because it will ask intermittent questions throughout the presentation that you'll have to answer. That ensures that everybody watches. I know that you've been through a lot of this before, but for me, and if I'm not going to have FaceTime with you, it's going to be important that I document that you understood by some sort of quiz or questions along the way. It's not difficult. It's just making sure that along the way you're staying on top of things with me. All right? Thank you, and we'll move on to our computer care at this time. So option number one is a 13-inch MacBook Pro. Has a 13-inch screen. It's a little heavy. It's 4.5 pounds. When we went through device deployment, and this was in April of 2013 is when we qualified for one-to-one technology. We went with a device that was sturdy and durable, could meet the challenges of our high school teens, and it has lived up to that reputation. We do have repair costs and things that have taken place that we have to fix, but these devices are 6 years old, and so we've got a great Mac technician that full-time that works on these devices and has done a great job maintaining and doing a lot of in-house repairs that don't cost, but the device itself is pretty durable, and that is for while supplies last. I think we have about 800 of those. We have 1,100 students, so device deployment is really important to get in, get this stuff taken care of so you can guarantee this device. All of our kids like it. The second option to that is the 10-inch Google Chromebook. It's about almost 3 pounds. An advantage to it's a 14-hour battery life, but it just does not have the same capabilities as the MacBook Pro for productivity and some of the cool things our kids like to do. But it is capable of doing everything that our teachers ask, so they can log into Canvas, they can check their test scores, they can go through the internet and get to all the websites that are necessary and all the assessment places that we need. This will be for day users and for the last 200 students that come into device deployment. So again, it's important to register in advance and get out there if you want the MacBook Pro. Day users, these will be for students that still have fees, and we're not going to let MacBook Pros go out until bills are paid, and also that that we're set up on some sort of installment plan. So I'd be happy to work with any parent there. I understand that money can be a little bit tight sometimes, but when I have a debt of $18,000, that's just not something that the school can pay, and I have to hold everyone accountable because of nights like this. We're talking about how to take care of the device, and then when it doesn't, when it's broken or something happens, then our students have to be held accountable to that. Starting with home internet use, parents, I'm leaving it up to you to set and enforce rules for internet and phone usage. Time limit on the internet is important. Instant messaging, social networking sites, online gaming, all that stuff. Set a time limit on that. Sometimes it's just too much technology at one time. When it's in your house, you can control that. We're giving you full permission on it. You're using the device. We want it to be for school purposes only. But at night, if they finish their work and they're doing online gaming and things like that that are appropriate, we don't mind it. Especially if they're on social networking and instant messaging, that if this device is going to be used, it's going to be used for appropriate use only. Parents should ask and know their student's personal username and password. You have a right to that. So if a student tells you they don't have to give it up, remember that you are in control, parents, of this device, and if you want that information, you should have it. You should also have access to the student's email. That way you can check any correspondence or communications they have. I'd also recommend that you check the history. Firefox history shows all the history, Safari bookmarks. If the history is emptied in there, then you need to ask the students why. There should be no reason for them to empty the history, but that would allow you to check any website they've been on. If there's anything inappropriate, you can stay on top of that. Social media, parents should monitor the social media, as I said before. Even though it's blocked by our network filter, sometimes our students work around that and we're able to get them here. We've made it clear that if we find Facebook in there at school, that it's going to be zapped, and once it's zapped on a device, it will not come back again. So students, if you enjoy using your social media, you make sure that it's not used here at school on this device, because we do have the ability to remove it so that it does not come back on your device, period. So I don't want to remove that from you because I know it's important, but it's got to be used the right way, and at school it's for academic purposes only. Parents, be aware of the social media sites that your students use, Twitter, Vine, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all those things, monitor postings. There are a lot of things out there, but just keep track of that. Talk with your kids about this permanent digital footprint they create. Every year we have situations where students make mistakes. They post something they shouldn't post, and once that goes out in the World Wide Web, it's out there. I can't retrieve it. I can't delete it to all the places it could be replicated. So they really need to know the importance of anything they do on the computer, anything they post or upload could be detrimental to their reputation and certainly ruin a good name. So please have conversations with them about that. Every year we have issues that impacts negatively in our homes. Be alert to any cyberbullying and notify immediately if it involves another student. These things they get drug into school sometimes, or they pour over after a long weekend, and sometimes people hide behind the screen and say things they shouldn't say. And if it's severe enough that law enforcement needs to be involved, we will certainly involve them. What is prohibited? Can't bypass the filter here at school. Can't use another student's username or password to log in. Do not share passwords. Do not download or install software without permission. Do not tamper with the hardware, go in there and start making adjustments and changes your own. And then, of course, all the chat rooms, instant messaging, social network, all that stuff, got to be on approved pages. So the expectations, finally, primary uses for school, appropriate content only used to promote good, used by you and you only, turn it in as good as you got it, and you're accountable for damages. So that could wrap up the laptop expectations in there. For many of you, this is your 4th year doing this, so this is a broken record, but again, I've got to go through it. These laptop expectations will result in positive experiences throughout the year and at the end of the year when it comes time to check in their device. And the 3 top areas, once again, came in number 1, number 2, and number 3. Cracked screens, $89. That's a repair cost. Usually we have something on the laptop when it's closed up. Could be an ink pen or a pencil, or could be a quarter or a coin, something like that. They need to make sure that everything is off the keyboard before they close the top, because it does result in a cracked screen, and that is something we have to send off. That is a flat $89 fee. Liquid damage, I've said this before, that's a device replacement. You spill your Mountain Dew or water bottle on top of the screen, that's a replacement. And a replacement cost to us would be $200 to that motherboard. And then, of course, cord damage. And this one is, we've been a little more understanding of this in the past, because after 6 years, these things are going to wear down. So I've bought about 300 new ones per year, and I usually issue those to new freshmen coming in. Once you get a cord, you keep that cord for 4 years. And it is possible to maintain a great cord. I've done it. I've had the same laptop for 6 years, and my cord looks brand new. I just don't wind it up too tight. I don't let the dog play with it. I don't leave it out where something can run over it. So that is a really, really important repair cost that you need to examine that thing when you get it and make sure that it is returned in the same condition. At this time, I'd like to go through the top 10 Southdale High School Pride positives. We want to sell our school and make sure that everyone in South Knoxville knows the great things that are taking place that may be unique to our school and the envy of other schools around us. I'm going to start with number 10, the Southdale High School app. I don't know of any high school in Knox County or surrounding areas that has their own app. Developed by Mike Carter, we talked about this last year, allows you to do all kinds of things, not just for students, but allows parents as well to utilize the school calendar, the directory of all of our faculty and staff. You need to get a hold of us. But for our students, it allows them to log in and see all of their points that they've earned through the Student Incentive Program, and serves as an ID that is unique for them. This is a wonderful app. I suggest you go to the App Store and pull up the SDHS app. Cambridge courses, number 9. This is something new that we're starting this year. Cambridge International is a pretty unique program. We'll be one of 5 schools across Knox County that start a Cambridge program. Some schools like West have an IB program. Cambridge allows us to teach different courses that are expands our curriculum, almost similar to a rigorous course like an AP course that is recognized internationally and prepares our kids for college. We love the idea of the program because of the international curriculum. dynamic teaching and learning, reliable assessments, international recognition, global community. We just feel like that this gives our students the best chance of being successful in post-secondary and beyond, and rivals that of AP. AP's kind of gotten a bad name for us because of the extra work in the summertime that seemed to bog some of our students down. This enables our students to have a rich curriculum that's going to prepare them for post-secondary and beyond, and will also help in increasing their ACT scores and the success that they'll have at the college level or in post-secondary classes. Number 8, the Library of the South. I think it was best said when a few parents from Farragut High School came over to take a look at our library. They wanted to do an upgrade to theirs, and the statement made was they just want to pick ours up and lift it and take it to West Knoxville. So the offerings that we have is kind of second to none. We have presented this at the state and the national level, talking about all the things that our library offers, having a makerspace, a One Tribe News studio, our cafe. We have private study lounges for our kids. We have a college and career center to help students with post-secondary scholarships and college entrance and FAFSA. We have a school store that has its own coffee shop, and our kids are trained baristas that make a nice cappuccino for you. All of these things for our marketing ed program ran by our students completely. We also have flexible seating to accommodate small crowds or large crowds up to 120 students, or we've held principals meetings, we've held community meetings. It just gives us the flexibility and the space to do whatever we need for our students and our parents and our community. And certainly the makerspace is going to be a big thing that's coming this year. That's going to be a pre-robotics program for our kids. We're excited about the library, and we're only getting started with all the programs it has to offer. Number 7, the success of our music programs. It takes a lot to get your picture on the South Dole High School Wall of Fame for chorus and band. And I could go on all day about the number of times that you have to earn all-state honors to get up there. But you just look at the quality of programs and presentations and performances that have taken place in my 9 years here. I've been blown away by it, but these programs and these performances were outstanding well before I came to South Dole High School, and I think it's the pinnacle of our school. It's always been kind of the blue ribbon mark that I would say that has always existed, and I would put our music programs up at the very top. They are second to none in the state of Tennessee. Number 6, the Cherokee Peace Center for Discipline. I'm going to spend a second or two talking about discipline. There are things that we try to do and have hardships at our school that we try to fix. Number 1, we want to make sure that we're correcting our students' behaviors. I lay out, and at the end of this presentation, you'll see where I lay down some non-negotiables that we're going to follow the law and we're going to treat each other with respect at South Dole High School. That is the same as if you go to Walmart, or if you're in a college or university, or you're just walking down the street. Everyone's got to follow the law. But when it comes to behaviors and respect, we want to make sure that our teachers are respectful to students and our students are respectful back. Sometimes we have bad days and we don't make good decisions, and so we have Cherokee Peace Center that allows our students the opportunity to go through sort of a mindfulness training. Mindfulness is a psychological process of bringing one's attention to experiences that occur in the moment, which can occur through meditation and just a calm, peaceful area for kids to de-escalate. We have a lot of students that have some tough things going on in their lives. Teenagers have tough things going on in their lives, and this mindfulness concept has done wonders to reduce the stress and anxiety of students, and is something we started this year off of a grant, and Ms. Tracy Winter has done an outstanding job setting this thing up. The neat thing about this, we have had a drastic reduction, I think a 50% reduction in classroom disturbances from first semester to second semester since we started this program, and we hope to implement it full time. We have had some serious situations like most high schools do, but I will say that we're not going to tolerate those non-negotiable behaviors that will be discussed later in this, and we choose to turn it into positive. We are not going to turn a blind eye to negativity or just breaking the rules in our school. We're going to address it. We're going to try to remediate our students through restorative learning and make sure that we're having circles and discussions so that we can fix the behavior and get our students back in class again. Number 5 and number 4, we have the second highest English growth gains in the county. So our English teachers do an outstanding job. But when you look at not just English, if you look at the growth that takes place overall, it's tough. A level 3 is a year's growth, which is what the state says that they want kids to have in order to be acceptable in terms of growth. South Doyle High School has had level 4 and level 5 growth since 2013. You can look at the numbers there along the way. These are the banners that we fly proudly in our hallways, and hopefully we will have a 2019. We'll know pretty soon if we have grown there. But just it's a testament to the outstanding job that our teachers do, taking our kids where they are and growing them. Number 3, CTE programming. Can't say enough about this, but I'll let the article speak for itself. When our newly elected governor went into office, his first high school visit was South Doyle High School. He heard about our CTE program and our classes and the teachers and what we offer our kids, which is a big platform for him in his campaign to make sure that we have CTE programs across the state getting kids ready. Not every student is fired up about going to college or suited to go to college or even has a desire to go to college. Post-secondary education is extremely important in putting kids in jobs that are needed today at good salary. So we want to offer our students a blend of every world that is known to mankind, and we want to make sure that they have opportunities to make a good living in an area that gets them excited and passionate. Governor Lease made it clear to the state that they should be copying South Doyle High School in CTE programming. So it was a wonderful day and a visit. He went to a lot of our CTE programs, culinary arts at the top, welding program. Welding program has so many offerings right now, starting salaries around $80,000. Our robotics program there in the center. We have our marketing education class again in the library, preparing kids for business education, and then collision repair down the bottom right. We have so many more like health science. We have cosmetology, agriculture, business. I can go on and on about the offerings at South Doyle High School, but we're extremely proud of them and love the recognition that the school has received. Number 2, a National Blue Ribbon Beacon School Award. Last year, or 2 years ago, we sought out to earn an award for growth that would have taken place at our school, and we earned the National Blue Ribbon Beacon Award. So many of you have helped us with the surveys and given us feedback on where we need to improve. We've taken those and tried to advance that in our programs and our offerings, and the National Blue Ribbon community saw fit to award us with the Beacon Award this year. So there's one more award out there. It's the pinnacle of all Blue Ribbon Awards. It's called the Lighthouse, and we'll be in competition for that in November of this year. So you'll have a survey going out pretty soon. We're going to take a look again at those results, see where we are, and then have our visit again to see if we've made improvements. So thank you again to all my parents and kids for your feedback that has definitely made us better. And last but not least, the number 1 top 10 South Doyle High School positive is the ACT Academy results. This is something we started in the spring. We had a big banquet of interested students and parents who wanted their students to raise their ACT Academy result scores. And so it started with doing a recruiting trip. We had 150 students participate, jumped into the program. I'd like to share some of the results that we're still gathering for this summer and putting into a presentation for you. 150 kids signed up and qualified. 137 students participated. 100 students made it to take the June ACT exam. The average number of sessions attended was 12. We had 31 total tutoring sessions for our students. So the average attended was 12. And then we had a Pareto software program that was diagnostic and prescriptive for our kids that allowed them to work through problems in the areas where they needed to improve the most. And so students attending at least 15 sessions or more averaged a +2 composite gain. Students completing 50% or more on Pareto averaged a +2 composite gain. 65% of the students made gains ranging from 1 point to 7 composite points. I can't tell you how remarkable that is to have a +7 composite gain. If you look at the chart, you're going to see English averaged a 2.83 increase, a little over a half a point for math. Reading was almost a full point. Science is 1.3 points, and our composite for the school went up a full 1.5 points. Anytime that you have a 1/10 or 2/10 of a point increase school-wide with your composite, that is considered to be a remarkable gain. 1.5 points total. So we're extremely proud of the gains made there. And again, you can see from the chart what the average score was for those attending at least 15 sessions in each of those areas, and also the average gain for completed 50% or more of the Pareto practice problems. Breakdown by students, we had 19 students with 1 point gain on the composite, 18 students with 2 points, 12 students with 3-point gain, 8 students with a 4-point gain, 6 students with a 5-point gain, 1 with 6, 1 with 7. And I guess the big aha for us right now was looking to see what the average gain was for someone who attended a session. Per session, did that have an effect? Attendance, I've said over and over again, is extremely important for our kids. So for the kids who came and worked hard, what did that equate to for every session they attended? So if you look at the chart at the bottom, for those students attending English, on average, there was almost a 1-point gain for every session attended. That is unbelievable for our English department and our English teachers who participated, that they almost raised a full point every single time a student stepped in for a tutoring session. Math was a little low. It was about 0.2 of a point for every session attended. Reading was almost close to 4 points. Science was close to 5 points. And the total per session was around 1.5 points. The most interesting piece, we said that study skills for ACT is vitally important, and what we found was for every session attended in study skills, a student's score went up almost a 0.5 point. So we are very excited about the ACT Academy and the results. We have a huge story to tell. I imagine that a lot of schools across the district and the state of Tennessee are going to be asking about these gains that were made, and we're just getting started. We feel like that we just scratched the surface. We learned more about how we can raise scores. I want to give a shout out to Stover Evans, who increased his 6 points, but his dad gave me a phone call, which I will never forget. Gave me a phone call and thanked South Dole High School for the increase in scores, which would result to almost a $30,000 savings to them in scholarship money over the lifetime of his 4 years in college. So this is going to prove to have great gains and scholarship monies for our kids. But you know, we have young kids involved in this, and it doesn't really matter to me if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior. We love the fact that you are participating in this program. And when you look at the participation, if we increase the number of students involved, we increase the number of students who are completing their work in Pareto, and we look at the number of sessions they are attending, you're going to find it's not difficult to raise your ACT score to a level where you can make gains for scholarship money and entrance into any college or university that you wish to attend. What we have found overall, now this is not for everyone, we've got to go in and really analyze where we didn't get some gains that didn't make sense to us, but I can tell you, if a student put forth the effort and focused where we told them to focus and came to the study sessions and let teachers work with them, they got the gains that they wanted overall. So the good news is I'm going to offer another ACT Academy in fall, probably 8 weeks before the October administration of the ACT. And so we're going to have sign-ups pretty soon for that. As I said, and I'll say later on with our open house, on August the 26th, we're going to have open house, but I'm going to have a special meeting embedded in open house in the library for anybody who's interested in the ACT Academy for this fall session, and you want your kids to make these kinds of gains. I plan to offer a spring version as well. So 2 times this year, I budgeted a lot of money to make sure we offer this for our kids again, and I would love for you to participate. But again, there are going to be some tighter restrictions on the expectations coming in. We had some students who didn't participate, didn't make a lot of sessions, didn't put forth the effort in Pareto, and did not get the results they wanted. Actually went backwards in their score. So this will come down to attendance and effort. So I'm extremely pleased with the ACT Academy and all the progress made by our students. You'll see a display in the hallway when you come out here for open house and device deployment that will show you faces of our kids proudly displayed and all the different accomplishments they made in this 8-week period. So congratulations to all the students who had success in the ACT Academy. So that is our top 10. South Dole High School parents, students, I just want to say reflect on these top 10 and know that there are a lot of schools that love to be and have the success that your kids are having right now in a school that they're having. And I just want to say, be proud of your school and be proud of the accomplishments. We're not done yet. We've got a long ways to go to be where we want to be, but every year we keep getting better. And I want to say thank you to you for your support for us and what we're doing. Next, I would like to talk about our Title I focus for the 2019-2020 school year. As I said before, we get about $500,000 from the federal government to address individual and group, subgroup needs that we have at South Doyle. So based on a lot of our survey data and committee meetings, we've determined that teacher growth, student support, and technology resources are the top 3 areas that we're going to focus this money. In terms of those areas of focus in professional development, we go to the National Blue Ribbon School Conference. Our teachers interact with other Blue Ribbon schools and share their best practices. We even present our best practices to other schools. We also attend the ISTE conference, which are best practices to incorporate technology into the classroom. So with our one-to-one needs, we're always trying to stay on top and current with our best practices. And then we get into behavior interventions. We attend the PBIS conference and even have teachers presenting at that as well. In terms of progress monitoring, we want to know where our kids are academically throughout the school year. We don't want to wait till the end of the year in order to determine that our kids are slipping or failing or not making progress. So we use a program called Mastery Connect, which is a pretty expensive piece of software, but allows us to track our kids during quarterly benchmark assessments throughout the school year. And then finally, we talked about the ACT Academy and how important it was and the kind of results that we're getting. It's probably the best investment we've made with this money. And so all of our tutors, our Pareto software, our ACT guides, transportation, some of our food, all of that has been pulled out of federal funds in order to accommodate the Academy. The budget for that, in terms of personnel, we hire 2 behavior liaisons to work with students to de-escalate out-of-control behaviors and to work with students when they're having issues or problems in the classroom. We have a half-time social worker, and we add a half-time social worker position to that to address attendance and tragic needs that our families go through sometimes. We also hire 3 master teachers that provide professional development, training, and coaching for our teachers so that we can continue to grow them and make sure that they are providing rigor for our classroom. And finally, we provide a guidance counselor to ensure that we have a counselor for each of our grade levels. Mastery Connect, as I said before, is paid out of this in the technology. We have before and after school tutoring, all the information and resources that go into the ACT Academy. And in terms of technology, we're adding more Chromebooks as our MacBook Pros begin to die. They're 6 years old. We have a great Mac technician. He's keeping these things alive, and they seem to be doing well, but we have fewer and fewer every year. So we're trying to add Chromebooks as we go along. Again, this has been shared with us as a primary needs for our school. And if you believe there are other areas that are not being addressed or a better way to budget this money, please feel free to share with me. This comes from committee meetings, parent conferences, individual sessions where students are demonstrating needs, and all of our Blue Ribbon survey data from our stakeholders has been instrumental in helping us target this money. Okay, next we're going to talk about our primary areas of focus for the school year. Communication is always a number 1 concern, making sure that we get information out to everyone and as quickly as possible. We use Aspen. That is a way to track your grades and behavior and attendance and certainly a way for you to see your child's personal information. Parent portal, of course, again with the grades, we want you to be able to see where they are and be able to intervene and communicate with us when you see them sliding down. Yes, we're trying to do a better job getting grades in so that you're seeing this in real time. Our school website, we've got a communications and PR committee this year. It's going to help work on communication, and they've got some great ideas. But maintaining the website, I know that's important to a lot of our parents. So we're going to continue to work on it and have a couple more people designated to update the site as it needs to be updated. The primary way for me, folks, is School Messenger. Again, I can send a phone call, an email, and a text message, and it goes out 3 different ways all at one time. You, of course, have to opt in to School Messenger. There's a way to do that by going onto the school's website, and you'll find a school opt-in, and you have to actually incorporate your name, as I've said before, and your information in in order to receive school messages. So in a case of emergency, that is the number one way that I can get information to you quickly. So people from time to time will say, hey, I didn't get that message when you all went to lockdown. Or if something goes down, like a fire drill, and I send something out that I want you to know, a lot of people will say, I didn't get it. And it's because you're not part of School Messenger. So please take the time to opt into that. If you need help, then you can contact our TPAC coach, Matthew Davidson, or the front office, and they'll give you guidance on how to do that. I will have a Remind 101 set up for parents. Do not have that set up yet. It has not been popular. I thought that would be the best way to get information out, but I've only had about 25 or 30 parents out of our 1,100 students to actually sign up. Email is a primary way of communication. You can always get any one of your teachers that way. And then, of course, through social media, again, we're trying to reach out to Twitter, Facebook. Instagram's not listed here, but we've been doing some of that. Talking about open house on August the 26th. I'll give you a little more information later on the presentation. You can schedule parent conference with us. There's, of course, a chain of command. People say, I'm trying to get a hold of you. I have 5 assistant principals and 2 secretaries out front. A lot of times I'm in meetings, folks, and so it's hard to get to me. That's why I've got resources around me. My assistant principals are a direct extension of me. As I've said, we have grade level deans and grade level guidance counselors on top of that. So if you will start there, you're likely to get information back quickly than trying to get a response back from me in one day. I try my best to do that. There's so many meetings and so many times I have to be out of the building or involved in big meetings that I'm not able to get back in a timely fashion. So those communication concerns, again, School Messenger, number one priority. We had, I think, 121 people had us blocked last year. Folks, if you have School Messenger blocked and you do not want that communication, if something goes down, you will not get the contact and calls you want. I can look at that and I can tell who has blocked. And so when people call and say, hey, I'm not getting information from you when we had that lockdown, then I can go back and find out what happened. So if you want to correct that, you talk to our secretaries and me. We'd love to get it straightened out because we definitely want to make sure that you know information as quickly as we can get it out. Increase in attendance, of course, as always. This is 9 years in a row I've talked about this, and it becomes a little more important this year because it is part of the state's report card. We've said before that our data shows each absence reduces a student's final average in each subject by 1 point. I think the numbers are getting even worse than that now when we look at the impact it's having on discipline, graduation rate, ACT, the report card that they're getting that goes home. All of this ties directly back to attendance. When kids are not here, it's just not happening. Looking at this chart, this is the percent chronically absent by subgroup and school. The State Department of Education says that any absence is considered a chronic absence if it exceeds 10. So it doesn't matter whether it's excused or unexcused. The State Department of Education in the state of Tennessee says that a student is considered chronically absent if they miss 10 or more days, excused or unexcused. I've drawn a line on the bar there so you can see where 10 would fit for our school, and you can see all students. We have 32% of all students are chronically absent. 40% of Black African American, Native American, 36, economically disadvantaged, 48, English learners, transitional 1 through 4, 21%, Hispanic 22%, students with disabilities 46%, and white students 28%. So the state, I don't always like to look at subgroups like that because I see our kids as our kids, but when they break that down, they give us a report card score for each of those categories. And at South Doyle High School, if I'm going to report some bad news, we receive an F on the new state report card when it comes to attendance. So the court system's getting pretty involved now with this. It's playing a stronger role because of the state report card. We're really cracking down on parents who are not complying with the laws and issuing fines in court. State is also revoking student driver's license at 15 unexcused absences. So it's just vital that you make sure your kids are consistently in school. And I know sometimes we have situations where we have illnesses that come up and things like that, and we work around those. We try to work the best that we can. But right now, when you look at these numbers, we are not even close to being in compliance with the state. And I do not want to see our kids, I do not want to see our parents catching the wrath of that. But the flip side is, folks, when you have them at school, we're going to do good things with them. So I talked about the ACT Academy and the difference that makes. But every single time I go and look at discipline, graduation rate, ACT, and our report cards, attendance is the number one problem behind each of those areas. Big hitters we're also going to focus on, I said, attendance, academic rigor, having kids engaged in the classroom. There's going to be more expectations for our students. We're not going to let people just sit in class. Cell phones are always an issue, so parents, if you could have conversations with your kids again. I know the school board is reviewing the policy with regard to cell phones, and it's not looking good on that. But we're trying to come up with other ways because we feel like a cell phone is very important for kids to have at school. It's just not during instructional time when it's disruptive. Skipping class, again, another concern on a campus like ours when they're not where they're supposed to be. Bad things usually happen. So I want to make sure that you stress to them that they are to be in class on time. Time for time again, we're trying to work on that on Saturday school and in our RLC, our Restoration Learning Center, which is formerly an ISS, trying to get time made up for kids who are missing instructional work. Safety, I will address that in just a little bit. There's a couple areas I want to make sure that I go over with you that could be an inconvenience. Drug prevention, we had some arrests made this year. I'm going to say it in another part of this presentation that I'm not going to tolerate drugs on campus. That is an automatic 180 degrees out, or 180 days out, sorry. And officers will be involved in that every step along the way. Also, bullying and student-student relationships, that's something that is a concern for our parents and our kids. We see it on the survey data that when these things take place, it's hard for students to stay focused on school. I want kids to feel comfortable. I want them to feel safe at school. And when they don't, that becomes a huge issue. So it's a primary focus for us again this year. Addressing that, our mantra, we are respectful, we are responsible, we are South Dole. We'll have these displayed in the cafeteria where it labels what this should look like in the cafeteria. We have it for bathrooms, same thing there. Hallways, classrooms, different places, different expectations. This is going to be discussed our first week and reinforced in advisory every single day. In terms of our reward system, talked about the app that we have at South Dole in tracking kids that have no discipline issues or few discipline issues. When they come to school, they're on class on time. When they're taking care of business in the classroom with their academics, they earn points. And so we want to reward the kids that are coming every day and doing what they need to do. So they earn these points. It shows in attendance, academics, behavior, community service, involvement, school spirit, how they can acquire these points. And it automatically uploads on their app. So they always know how many points they have on any given day. And then we have a price list, a kiosk item where they can cash these points in for all kinds of small items like pencils, pens, chapstick, hand sanitizer, small things, decals, but also up to our One Tribe Cafe where there's food they get for free, admission into our ball games, even individual teachers have homework passes that are issued if they have X number of points. Folks, we want to reward our kids for doing those four primary areas, and a lot of our kids do that. And so you're going to find this year there'll be a lot of incentives laid out for kids who continue to do what they need to do. Last incentive that I want to mention, I talked about this one last year. This is for seniors. Any senior who has at least an 80% average, 2 or fewer absences in a semester will be exempt from the class final exam. That's not the state mandated EOC. I can't exempt them from that. But this applies to both fall and spring semester. This is a Knox County policy, so it's not something we're doing here. But if they take care of business there, they do not have to take their class final exam. For 9th graders, 10th graders, and 11th graders who have 2 or few absences in a semester class will drop their lowest test grade. This is huge. This does not count the benchmarks. We're trying to find out exactly where they are in their academics or their EOCs or state mandated EOCs. But this also applies in both fall and spring semesters. This is a South Dole High School policy. So please focus on the things, the attendance incentive. That's how important it is to us. Okay, parents, there are a couple of areas I want to cover here in terms of promises that we are going to do for you. I want to make sure that you understand that we're going to love and respect your kids. We're going to keep them safe. We're going to provide the best education to prepare them for work or post-secondary opportunities. Certainly, we promise to help them through the tough times. We're going to listen and be patient with them, say we're sorry when we're wrong, and we're going to resolve problems between classmates. At the same time, we know that everyone has rights, but no one has the right to use his or her rights in a manner that's injurious to the safety of others. We will not tolerate drugs or alcohol possession or use, sexual misconduct, inappropriate language. bullying and intimidation, fighting, weapons, aggression, disrespect, or intimidation to faculty and staff. I think I've demonstrated and proven that we're not going to tolerate these things at South Doyle High School, so please have conversations with your kids. We're going to have conversations with them when school begins. We're going to have conversations in advisory, and these are those things that are non-negotiable. So we usually or typically involve law enforcement. We had to use them a few times last year in order to encourage our students to do the right thing. So you would help us tremendously if you would address this with the kids at home. Fall open house will be Monday, August 26, 2019 from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. We're going to have food and fun, incentive points earned by our kids, door prizes, get an opportunity to meet the teachers and administrators. I'm also going to have a big ACT Academy launch in the library for those who want to know more details about all the stats that I gave about ACT Academy and how you can raise your ACT score, earn scholarship money through this process. That will be a very important night for parents who want to pop in. We're going to have all this stuff going at one time, but I will give you a time later on, closer to the 26th, to let you know when I'm going to hold that meeting, but it'll be on the same night. I would love to have a full house in the library for that meeting. Safety updates, I said that there are going to be some inconveniences in there, so please listen up to this. From now on, we're going to ask everyone, doors of course are locked. When you come to school and you buzz in, you need to present your ID and a reason for being on campus prior to entry. There have been some issues district-wide where they've had visitors come, and as soon as the doors buzzed, they've walked in and gone into different parts of the building and created a major safety issue for students on campus. Did not happen in ours, but I believe it happened at West High School and maybe another school or two. So the district is encouraging us to make sure that you have your ID present. You can show that to the camera. When you buzz in, there's a camera there. You can show your ID and then state your reason for being on campus, and then we will let our guests in the building. It's not a positive environment that I like to create, because I want everyone to feel like that they belong and that they're welcomed here at school, but I want to make sure that we're focused on safety first, especially if we have people coming to the door and we don't recognize. Parents, when dropping off your students in the mornings, drop off on the campus that your student has first block. So if they're going to be in English or social studies, more than likely they're going to be on Young campus. They need to be dropped off there. Don't drop them off down here on main campus for them to have to walk all the way through. I've said the piece about signing up for School Messenger is extremely, extremely important. If we have lockdowns or any important information, I'm going to School Messenger first, and that's the primary means to get info to you. And the last piece, do not drive all the way back to the back parking lot to turn around. You can drop them off the crosswalk here right in front of main building A on the side, and then you exit around in front of the band building back out again. So we'll have people out to guide people the first day and second day of school so you know where to go. Class bell schedule is not going to change, but if you're new to South Doyle High School, we're on 4 blocks in a skinny. Four blocks are listed there. You can take a look at that schedule, but it kind of lays out what our daily schedule is. This, of course, will be adjusted when we have inclement weather and have to go to a 1 hour or 2 hour delay. Finally, this wraps up my time with you. I'll let Mr. Carter bring this to a close with the final steps to completing device deployment. Let me make it clear that our goal is to make this process as easy as possible while still maintaining the district's expectations and accountability with providing all of our students with an $800 tool that we hope that will improve student achievement and their overall school experience. I have my contact information provided and ask that you feel free to contact me or one of my assistants if we can be of assistance to you. I appreciate you all. I'm excited to be a partner with you in pursuit of this culture of excellence for your students. Have a wonderful night and go Keys.
Now that you've finished all the video and all the questions, on the next page in Canvas, you will see instructions on how to sign up for a pickup time reservation. When you get to South Doyle and you pull in the main entrance, you will see a long driveway that leads to the back. You're welcome to park to the right at student parking or in the very back. You'll pass through the main gate here, just beside the band room, and on your left you'll see a couple of white flags that lead into the entrance for the quick deployment. After you've parked and walked in, go through the white flags, and on the left side you will see our cafeteria. You'll walk into the cafeteria with parent and student. The parents will fill out the paperwork, and the student will create the account on the computer. Both must be present to do the pickup, and you'll be able to quickly get in and out.